Yo, dude, this could be a stream right here. I always liked the Super Mario 64 soundtrack. Have I ever told you my Super Mario 64 story where I bought an N64 and then my parents were like, if you buy, I mean, technically they bought the N64 because I was like 9, but I had to save the allowance money for like, 3 months in order to get it or something, or 6 months, which is a big deal for like a little kid, right? Regardless, allow me to burp a little bit here. My parents were like, if you buy the console, we'll buy you one game. My best friend at the time was like, you gotta get Super Mario 64. It's one of the best games ever made. You gotta get it. I was dead set. He had a GamePro subscription and everything, so like he knew everything there was to know about what games are good, what games are bad. He's also I remember another tangential story. He told me that he was super excited for this game called Siphon Filter for the PlayStation 1. As soon as it came out, I went out and bought it, and he was pissed off at me. He was like, I told you I wanted that game. But you went out and just bought it. And, I mean, we were in like 5th grade, right? Like that's irrational stuff like that happens. Siphon Filter, great game. The boss early on where you spin him around and then shoot him in his compressed gas canister using the taser early on until he spontaneously combusted. Oh, man. Anyway, we went to Toys R Us. They got all the games locked in a plastic case, right? They're in game jail, just in case a bunch of unruly 11-year-olds come in and do like a smash and grab or something like that. There it is, Super Mario 64. It had been out for like a few months. It was slightly discounted. I think it was like $59.99. Right next to it, LucasArts, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, $109.99. An impossible dilemma was presented to my 4th grade self. Why, if I have the chance to get a free game, would I choose the $59.99 one when I could get double the value by getting Star Wars Shadows of the Empire for $109.99? I'm not ashamed to admit, I picked Star Wars of the Shadows of the Empire. My parents were like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I really want it. I knew nothing about it. I don't even know if I had seen a Star Wars movie up to that time in my life. I probably had, but... And then, so here's the thing, right? Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, pretty good game. It's no Super Mario 64. Played the Hoth level 100 times. After that, you go to... You're on foot inside of like I don't think it's a Death Star, but you're inside of like an Imperial space cruiser. It's the scariest level of all time. There's a Wumpa you gotta watch out for, and then you fight an Imperial Walker, well, an AT-ST, on foot, which is crazy, man. Like, come on, you're supposed to use like a snow speeder to fight it. Then the 3rd level, pretty good level, great soundtrack. I dare not play it, okay? Da, 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 da. You're in outer space in the Millennium Falcon using the C buttons to shoot at asteroids. Level 4, I believe that level 4 was the level where you're on the train. Also insanely scary. I never got past it until my cousin came over, because at the end of it, you fight this guy, IG-88, who just, he's just so scary. And then the level after that, you gotta fight another AT-ST, and then you gotta fight Boba Fett. Like, on foot. And it was the scariest level of my life, man. That was, I literally, as a child, never beat the level. So people are like, what about Prince Zizor's sewer level? And I'm like, I don't even think I met the bad guy in the game. quite frankly. I don't think I met the big bad because I only got 5 levels in. People were like, how about the Mos Eisley chase sequence? And I'm like, I never got that far. I only read about it in the instruction manual. It's crazy, man. That Boba fight was BS. How did you remember Prince Zizor's name? You know. It's just one of those things that's burned into my brain like this. Oh, man. PlayStation 1 music, relaxing video game music for 1 hour. Oh, dude! That summoned an eldritch memory from deep. That honestly just made me feel like I'm 11 years old. It's December, Christmas holidays, and like the heat is bumping. I got a blanket wrapped around me. I'm sitting cross-legged on my bed playing the PS1. Oh, man. Don't be shy. Oh. Oh, man. Dude, that's a bop right there. People are fucked, like human beings. Being 30, going on 31 now just makes me realize how precious those memories were in times being a kid. That's true. Reminiscing is such a dangerous and heartbreaking thing. All right, Scooby Jr., like, it's just Ridge Racer 4. Like, I get being nostalgic and being melancholic is one thing, but it's the damn Ridge Racer 4 soundtrack. Like, come on. Let's not be dramatic. I mean, everybody's nostalgic for their childhood, I'm sure, but it's, come on. It's Ridge Racer, man. I'm not sad to feel this again. I count myself lucky to be a kid in the 90s, and I would always look back with a warmth in my very soul. That was a time in our lives we'll never forget, and it's a special kind of precious nostalgia that not much else could quite capture. It's true. Yeah. Playing a lot, with lots of summer vacations, playing Gran Turismo 2, waiting for my parents going to work, and then, you know, cranking into the Sears catalog like 7 times before they got home. It's a time in our lives we'll never forget. Special kind of precious nostalgia that not much else could capture. Thanks on behalf of all of us for posting and making me feel a slice of the essence and wonderment of an age I'll not forget. Here's to us, ladies and gents. Shine on! Oh, man. That's so good. Anyway. Yeah, gaming. So I wanted to play just Super Auto Pets, like, that's it, all day today. So I put it in the middle. I put it in the middle, okay? I put it in the middle. We'll see how that works. We're going to start. So can I tell you the genesis of how we got ready to play Dungeon Death Brawl? I tweeted, hey, what's game of the year so far? Super Auto Pets or something else? This just goes to show you, there are positive things on Twitter sometimes, okay? The votes are literally 50-50 right now with like 11,000 votes, which is hilarious. Obviously, I have a bit of a biased, audience, I'm sure, but also, like, it's not like I work for Rasmussen, so who fucking cares? Literally, I just happened to be looking at Twitter like 45 minutes ago. Somebody tweeted me and said, my favorite game of the year just came out of early access. And then they linked me to this game that I'm trying to capture right now called Dungeon Death Brawl, which is a tactics-style sports into the breach clone. Just happened to see it at the right time and looked it up on Steam. Sorry, Dungeon Death Ball. Dungeon Death Ball. Looked it up on Steam. Just came out. 100% positive reviews with 25 reviews. Many of the reviewers had played double-digit hours, watched the trailer, looked good. I love a sports game. One of the reviews that sold me, and I quote, Assume your Dan Carlin voice. A nice combination of Into the Breach meets Frozen Cortex. I said, sign me up. Pog me up. Jeffrey's freaking cracked at this game. Okay. Slash marker. Dungeon Death Ball. Dungeon Death Ball.